Hey, brother. I can sense the heaviness that you're carrying. I can feel the weight of that load that you've been carrying on your back and in your heart and your soul for a long time now. And it's not just one specific thing, although there are a few big things that have happened, but it's also a lot of little things that you've been carrying. There's this idea that you're responsible for taking care of all the things that no one else seems to step up for. It seems like the world, society, the people in your life, and even the expectations you put on yourself can weigh you down sometimes and make you feel like it's your responsibility to take care of everything. And I know that can feel heavy, and it can weigh you down and make you feel stuck sometimes, and that's okay. But right now, it's time to put that load down for a little while. Put that weight and that burden down for just a few moments and take a break and take a breath. My name is Ed Hegan. I'm a former New York City firefighter and a mindfulness coach, and I help people to recognize the burdens they've been carrying and help them to put them down, to unpack them, see if they actually belong to us anymore or not. And if they don't, well, it's time to let them go. Because that stuff that we've been carrying around for months, years, maybe even decades, from a career of service or from stressful employment or overwhelming life situations, it can weigh us down and keep us stuck in life. So this is your opportunity to recognize that you've been holding on to some stuff that just simply does not belong to you anymore. And so let's start this practice of connecting with ourselves and beginning the process of letting go of some of the things that don't belong to us anymore by simply connecting with the present moment and with our bodies and with each other by taking a few long, slow, deep, nourishing, healthy breaths. And we can do this by exhaling all of the air out of our lungs. Now inhale slowly through the nose, filling up your belly. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Inhale slowly through the nose, inhaling peace, love, and acceptance. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Letting go of stress and tension. Any tightness, release it. Another long, slow, deep breath in through the nose. Fill your belly. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. And let go of any stress and tension. And continue to breathe deeply and slowly in through the nose, filling up your belly. And continue to release any stress or tension you might be feeling throughout this meditation. So that's the way that we drop into our body. And this is a great way for us to connect with ourselves, each other, the present moment, and give ourselves space to simply allow to arise anything that needs to come up. Maybe there are some unresolved emotions that don't disappear. And when we don't resolve these emotions, they can hide in the body. When they hide inside of our body, they can create chronic pain, digestive issues, immune response issues. They can lower our energy levels. They can increase our stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And they can even create heart conditions by putting too much stress on our bodies and brains and minds. So If we recognize that holding on to old wounds is fueling our anxiety and depression, we recognize that it's our responsibility to do some spring cleaning and let go of some of the weights that we've been carrying in our hearts and souls, and thereby carrying in our body. And the neuroscience is kind of clear. When we think about the brain and the body and how our brains, our bodies, and our nervous system react to stress, it's kind of clear that when our stress response goes off and when we have adrenaline and cortisol flooding through our body, the part of the brain that controls the fear and danger parts, the smoke alarm, if you will, that detects any danger, is called the amygdala. And when we are emotionally challenged or when we are stressed out, the amygdala gets highly activated. And when that happens, we need to kind of change the way that we're reacting. So sometimes if we notice that we're triggered and under stress, instead of going back into the old story of a victim mentality or something bad or tragic, instead of replaying that, what we can do is simply notice and pay attention and recognize when we are triggered, when we're activated, when we go into fight or flight mode, when we go into response mode. And instead of going into the old story and going into a frantic, stressed out, shut down state, we can instead choose to recognize that we're activated and take a long, slow, deep breath again. And just like we would train to respond and pick up the burdens and carry the weight and show up for people and arrive on the scene, we can also train ourselves that when we feel stressed out, to breathe deeply and to practice nourishing self-care. And we recognize that no one's going to force us to do this. It will be up to us to make the choices to say, I don't like the way my brain and body are responding to the stresses of life. I've been preconditioned throughout years or decades to respond to stress in a really negative way. And I'm going to change that. When I feel stressed out, I'm going to practice awareness around it. I'm going to acknowledge what I'm feeling. And I'm going to take a deep breath and practice some self-care. And so when we recognize this, mindfulness and meditation can actually help to rewire the brain. And it can soften the responses, making space for more peace. Our brains have what's called neuroplasticity, and we can literally rewire our brains. So what used to be a stressful response, something that used to make us on edge and irritable, can now be something that reminds us to take a deep breath and relax ourselves. And in this way, we can rewire the brain through neuroplasticity. And that's a really powerful way to reframe what we're feeling. So the very thing that used to make us agitated, irritable, angry, on edge, and reactive will be the very same cue that will trigger a deep breath, relaxation, meditation, a nap, exercise, a walk, journaling, whatever modality that works for you. And it's going to be different for everybody. So when we realize this, we realize that healing isn't about forgetting. It's not like we're going to forget about the things that happened to us. It's that we are going to release ourselves and free ourselves by using the present moment. And we're going to use this present moment to free ourselves from the grip of the past. So if we realize that an old story that we're telling ourselves or an old reactive pattern that used to keep us safe isn't working anymore, we're going to rewire that. And we're going to change that story and realize that we are going to free ourselves from the grip of the past by choosing a healthy response instead of a negative reaction. And we realize that when we want to let go of things, it's not like saying that what happened is okay. It's actually a gift we give to ourselves to let ourselves breathe a little more deeply. So if you feel like somebody did something wrong to you, you don't necessarily want to just say, oh, I forget about it. It didn't happen. You can acknowledge that it happened, but you can choose consciously with awareness to let that go and say, I simply don't want to give that power over myself anymore. I simply want to breathe deeper. I simply want to feel more at ease. I no longer give power to that situation. that circumstance, that memory, that history has no more power over me. I choose instead to ground myself and breathe deeply. And so when you reframe that story, you can even write it out. Take a journal, write out the old story. Let that page carry what was in your heart and that you no longer need. And you can even take that piece of paper and ceremonially go to a campfire and burn it. Or put it in a bottle and send it out to sea. But let it go. So you can write it out and you can let it go. And now you can embrace a new way. Because only when we release things do we create space in our hearts and minds and souls and bodies and our lives for new things to come in. So, do you know that there's a better way out there, brother? Can you sense in your heart that the way that you've been living and the things you've been carrying for years don't belong to you anymore? And do you willingly want to create space in your heart and your soul and your life for new things? Well, if you do, then it's a great opportunity to create some space in your life by letting go of some of the things that no longer serve you, by letting go of the things that simply don't belong to you and are just taking up space that could otherwise be used to experience joy, connection, creativity, adventure, love, intimacy, affection, life, all those things you know you really want, but that you don't have space for because it's kind of filled up with some old negative emotions and junk that you just no longer need. And so recognizing that the present moment is where that power lives can help you to drop into these practices. And you can always come back to this or any of the other meditations that I do. I simply create these things as an opportunity to remind you to breathe deeply, connect with your body, connect with the present moment, feel what needs to be felt, let it go, create space, and be more free and lighter to enjoy life. To remind you that the things you're carrying no longer belong to you, that you're not broken, you're not a burden, that your burdens and the things that you've been carrying can be set down. And letting go of these things does not mean that you failed. It means that you're ready to be free, finally, from carrying all the stuff that you've been carrying. If you want to learn more about deepening your meditation or breathwork practice, or you want some one-on-one coaching, or you want to sign up for an 8-week program to literally transform you and let go of some of the stuff you've been carrying around for decades, you can sign up for a free discovery call at edwoodstock.com. And if you're interested in receiving a guided meditation that's custom tailored for you, sign up for a free discovery call at edwoodstock.com. And if you find the information in this video valuable and you think someone that you know or love would benefit from its message, please share it. And thanks for tuning in. I hope you let a little bit go today. I hope you create a little space in your heart and soul. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I hope to see you next time.